Sirius Quilt Along. My name is Holly and Night of String and Story, and it's my job to guide you to quilt with confidence. Y'all, today we are making the second important unit. Interesting. Did I just go live on the? No, I did. Okay. Sorry, y'all. I got a notification on my phone that said String and Story just went live, but then it made it look like I was on the wrong Instagram account. We're all good. False alarm. Good morning, Bonnie. Good morning, Estelle. Good morning, Margaret. Good morning, Terry. Good morning, Stephanie. It's so good to see all of you. Welcome back. We are working on our Sirius quilt here together. And there are basically two units that have to be pieced before we can put our blocks together, right? Last week, we did our square in a square blocks. We did both traditional piecing and foundation paper piecing together. Those replays are available both on YouTube and Instagram if you're looking for them. And today we're going to work on our flying geese. That's what's going to make our star points. And then from there, it is simply block and quilt top assembly. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Hi, Jessie. Good to see you. So let's get started today and make some magic happen. All right. You can see I've got my piecing laid out because I am trying to get my blocks done today because I need to make a video for y'all all about quilt top assembly that y'all can watch while I'm in the UK. So we're just getting it all done. All right. You're going to take those really big background squares. That one apparently did not get the seam cut, so we're going to try again with a different one. All right. Did I miss a cutting step on some of these? This is what happens when I cut at the end of the day. Here we are. Start with a big background square. Remember, all of your exact sizes and everything are outlined in your pattern. It is totally free to join this quilt along. You will need to buy a copy of the pattern, okay? So stringandstory.com. Get signed up. You'll see the banner at the top of the page to join us. And from there, you'll be able to find all the links that you need. Good morning, Hal. Good morning, Jan. Good morning, Mary. Good morning, Petra and Peggy. Fabulous to see y'all. Then you're going to take those color B squares. Now, if you're like me, you went through last week and you were making all of these guys, right? And for the size of quilt we're making, we only need 13 of these block centers. And you got those all ready to rock and roll. And you had a fat stack of these squares left over. And you went, did I radically overcut? No, you didn't. We need these same squares for making our flying geese. So here I've got that big square. My folks on YouTube, I'll kind of hold things up step by step for you so you can see them. That way I'm not making you motion sick, turning the camera too many times, okay? And I'm going to take 2 of those squares. We're going to make 4 at a time flying geese. So all of the geese that we need for a single block, we're going to make at one time. All right, I'm going to take some pins. So I've put these squares, let me hold this up very carefully, corner to corner, okay? So see how they're kind of overlapping in the middle? That's going to help with our seam allowances, okay? We're going to put these corner to corner, lining up the raw edges of the squares, the smaller squares with the raw edges of the larger squares, okay? Good morning, Susan Ruff. Jan says, oh, and hi, Helen. Hi, Janet. Jan says, my spring to my bobbin case just flew to the floor and I can't find it. It's going to be a day. You know what, Jan? There's nowhere to go but up from here. You're going to find it. It's going to be okay. Take a deep breath. And yeah, it's going to be all right. I'm just going to speak that over you, that you're going to find it and it's going to be okay. Now, pin those puppies in place. Notice the way that I've pinned these. I've got 2 pins per square and I've got them kind of corner to corner because we're about to draw a line across the center here. Good morning, Estelle. And we want to make sure that those pins are out of the way, okay? Margot, isn't it so cute? It's got the little ruby starfish in it. That's a Sarah Watts fish. This is the economy block template that we have. And then you just add a gusset and a back and some walnut shells. I have done in-person classes for this pin cushion. Maybe I'll have to do a virtual class for it. All right, so then you're going to take a ruler and you're going to draw a line corner to corner down through your pins, okay? My 2 favorite marking implements are your basic Dixon Ticonderoga No. 2 pencil. I named the brand because it matters, man. The good yellow pencil with the good eraser, okay? Or a Soline white ceramic pencil, depending on the color of your fabric. I use a regular pencil on my light fabrics. I use the Soline white ceramic on my dark fabrics. The reason that matters that it's white ceramic, okay? The Ceramic factor is going to give you a crisper line than chalk. Notice this is like a mechanical pencil, right? It just yep. So it's going to give you a crisper line because ceramic is a little bit harder than chalk. Janet worked. Hallelujah. A little quilty miracle. It matters that it's white because I do not want any kind of dyes anywhere near my quilt top. Okay. I know that they say that the yellow and the pink and the blue are going to wash off. I've heard just enough horror stories that I don't play with it. Okay. Yes, we just restocked these in the shop, if anyone is wondering. Peggy, great question. The pink squares are right side down. So the fabrics are right side together. So see, there's my right side's down. Obviously, my navy does not have a wrong side. So I'm going to draw a line directly down the center here. Like so, okay? See that line right down the middle? Y'all can kind of see that line right down the middle. And then we're going to sew on each side of the line, 1/4 of an inch away. Keep your 1/4 inch a little bit scant, right? You want to make sure that the seam allowance doesn't run away from you here, okay? Good morning, Marcia. Let me make sure I didn't miss any questions on Instagram. Hang on. All right, we are safe. So we're going to come over here and we're going to sew on each side. One time, some of y'all know, I made a video on Instagram and I said either side, and that was not well received. It's each side, apparently, even though I think people knew what I meant, you know? All right, so my foot, I'm using a scant 1/4 inch foot. So the edge of my foot is on that line so that my needle is a scant 1/4 inch away. And in my case, I'm going to sew, where are my snips? There they are. These got sharpened. We had a Famori here to sharpen last weekend, and I'm wondering if I handed them my snips. I know I handed them all the classroom snips. Now notice, I can just swing this around to sew down the other side. What I would actually recommend that you do after you do one, right? So do one set of geese so you know how it works. Once you have one set done, I would prep them all like this and just chain piece these puppies through, okay? Exactly. A little extra clarity never hurts, Mary. And one of these days I'll stop chuckling about it and stop talking about it, but today is clearly not that day. It's also worth noting that I found such a lexical thing extra amusing because my minor is in linguistics and I specifically studied descriptive rather than prescriptive linguistics. So a whole different nerdy side of my brain was activated, right? All right, so we've sewn down each side. You can see on the back, 2 lines of stitching, right? And then we're going to cut right on that line that we drew. After this is where I would recommend you hit this with an iron. I am not going to hit it with an iron because I'm here live on camera. I'm going to finger press mine, but I do think it's worth hitting it with an iron, right? And getting this next step really crispy. So I call this the fox face step because we're going to flip these little ears up and we're going to end up with a little fox face, okay? And Margaret says, I'm switching to YouTube. I need a bigger screen. I respect that. Listen, I'm still in the millennial generation, so I fall into the category of humans that like certain things have to be done on a bigger screen. Like when I bought my plane tickets for England, I literally had everything pulled up in my phone inside the app and then went, okay, I like these flights. Now I have to go get on the big screen. And I got on my laptop to actually book the flight. All right, so we finger press this and we have our little fox face. And I'm going to do the same thing with the other one. Just like we talked about for your square and a square blocks last week, really make sure you're getting all the fabric pressed all the way to the seam, okay? You don't want a wrinkle dinkle and any extra little fabric hiding in there, okay? That will come back to haunt you later in the terms of wonky, wibbly blocks. Mary says, everything needs to be on a bigger screen for me. You go, girl. Honestly, I respect that. All right, then you're going to take another square, like so. And you're going to put it in that other corner of your background and pin it in place. Don't worry. I'm going to hold it up so you can see what I'm doing. All right. So see how, again, right sides together. I've now put like an oversized, it's like a little fox wearing a face mask. Okay. So we've got a little fox. He's wearing a little face mask. And we're going to draw corner to corner again. Okay. And yes, from here, we're going to sew on each side of that line. Okay. So we are pinned. We are marked. And y'all know, especially Margot, some of y'all that have been around for a minute, marking is not my favorite, right? There are things that I'm like, do I have to slow down and do this step? Your flying geese, kind of like last week when we were folding these in half to find the center, right? And lining them up accordingly. Marking your flying geese like this so that you sew really straight seam allowances and really accurate seam allowances is going to make your life so much easier. A, when you need to trim them in the next step, and B, at actually just like piecing them into your quilt. Okay, it's going to go so much smoother. Nicole says, I read your blog on your enemy grub. Why are we so tough on ourselves and say things that we would not say to another newbie? You know, Nicole, that's a really great question. And I could probably wax philosophical about it. But I think the most important thing is to recognize this tendency in ourselves and be a person, A, who corrects ourselves when we speak harshly to ourselves, but also to surround ourselves with friends who will call us out, right? Jesse's on this call. She spent a decent amount of time with me in person, and she knows if you are in my shop and you start speaking unkindly to yourself, I am very, very quick to look at you and say, I hope you're not talking to my friend that way, right? Because sometimes when we think of ourselves as another person's friend, right? Or we think of ourselves in that like slightly removed way, it becomes much easier to use kind words, right? And it's really, really important to use kind words with ourselves. It makes a huge difference. All right, so I'm sewing down. You can see I'm chain piecing these through. So chain piecing is just the act of feeding these pieces through one after another. Okay. Oops, sorry, my Instagram people. I wanted to scoochie over. Marco's like, actually, I like the Instagram angle better. The Instagram angle is a little better. The tall orientation lends itself to this. I agree. Chain piecing is just where you feed things through one after another. And it's joined. Oh, y'all can't see that because my name is blocking the screen. I will show you. And the pieces are joined by that little link of thread from where you just fed it straight through. Okay. And you can do long, long chains of things this way. It saves a bit of thread. And it also saves time. And I think that's the thing that I have been most surprised by whenever I have like out chain piecing versus not, is it is genuinely faster to be able to just feed things straight through and then cut them apart. Okay. All right. We're going to repeat that same thing. If we're going to pull the pins out, we're going to cut on that line and then we're going to press so that we have our geese. Okay. Thank you, Dot. All right. And this is going to be 1 block's worth. Okay. And you'll notice I've got my little mat here with my rotary cutter. This is exactly the kind of thing that it is so much easier to just do right here in front of you and not necessarily get up to the cutting table. So see, here's my goose. It still needs to be trimmed. I'm not sure that I have my, do I have my flying goose ruler over here? Did I remember to grab it? Not the one I was thinking of, but we can use this one. Oh. We will trimming momentarily. Oh, that's where my rotary was. Huh. How many things can I have in front of me at one time? We're finding out together. I don't know. All right, let me finger press these others really quick. And then these are going to need to get trimmed. These are going to get trimmed to 3.5 by 6.5 inches. Okay. So they're pretty big. I have a block lock this size. Again, I'm going to double check in here. Nope, I think it's in the other room. And let's bring the rotating mat over and do some trimming together, shall we? All right, my YouTube people, I'm going to point you all the way down because I want you to be able to actually see this for real. So y'all have heard me brag about this rotating mat from So Tights. They actually have, let's use the magnetic ruler together. They had this lovely magnetic ruler that sticks right on. And if I am going to be cutting this, so this ruler is 6.5 inches. So I need the midpoint to line up right at 3.25. And then also my point to line up at 3.25. And I can cut 3 of the sides right here, right now, just by rotating the mat. Et voila. So you'll notice this is why marking and having those accurate seam allowances matters. Because you'll notice we're just taking little threads off, right? Like I'm not taking a lot off when I do this trimming. So we don't have a ton of margin of error there. It's really just enough to clean up the edges, okay? So then I'm going to split this ruler the other way. And I'm going to center it. And here I actually have a lovely 45-degree line. Let me do it so y'all can see. It's actually a lovely 45-degree line that I can line up along the edge of that goose so that when I trim this, I know we've ended up square. And again, same thing, you'll notice like threads. Those threads matter. Like there was definitively a time in my quilting journey when I've been like, those threads can't possibly matter for the finished product. They do. Take the time to do this. Clean up your seam. See how nice and clean my seam allowance is at the top now? Right? Nice and crispy. And you're going to do that for all of your geese. Now, to show you how this is going to come together, again, how many rulers and things can I have stacked in front of me? All of them, obviously. So here's our lovely little block center. Doo-doo. And these little these little geese are going to go all the way around. And look how cute this block is going to be, right? Just a little, it's a simple sawtooth star with a square in the square center. You'll have obviously squares in the background to round out your block. And this is going to be the focal block of your Sirius quilt, okay? Any questions about how we are doing these flying geese or how that comes together? Dun, da, da, da. I know we went through it pretty quickly. My air conditioning just turned on. I'm sure y'all can hear that in the background. Marcia said, I did invest in the rotating cutting mat after hearing from you. I'd already gotten the large mat. Oh, waiting for the rest of your comment, Marcia. I'm so glad you got the magnetic mat. It's a freaking game changer. Like, I say this often, right? That I tend to be the last person to buy the gadget. And I will say consistently, y'all have the best gadget recommendations, right? From the add a quarter ruler that we talked about last week, the rotating mat that I finally got this week. My friend Corey over at Linda's sent me batting scissors to make it just easier to cut batting off the roll. All wonderful tools, all tools that I've resisted getting for a long time. Because I don't know, John's the gadgety person in our house. I'm like, I have a thing that'll get it done. And I really have found that having the rotating mat has helped, Marcia. Mary says, I'm so eager to get to this point. I'm still piecing square to squares right now. Technically me too, Mary, if that makes you feel better. It is rainy here this afternoon, and my plan is for the children to watch a movie, and I am going to sit and sew. Marcia says, I haven't used a large mat, but now I have the little rotating mat. Yay! So Dot says, tell me about the magnetic mat. I will give you, oh dear. I'll give you the teeny tiny spiel. And then I will point you to my blog for the full review. Okay, so Sew Tight makes sewing magnets that can replace sewing pins or be used like sewing pins, right? And they have, I think, 2 mats. They have this one, which rotates, and then they have a regular flat cutting mat. And the mats are built with metal inside so that they are, if I throw it dramatically, it doesn't work, so that they are magnetic, right? So you can see this ruler sticks to it. So the flat cutting mat can be used just like a regular mat, but using the magnetic rulers helps if you have any issues with your ruler sliding, if you've got a little bit of a tremor or any kind of hand weakness that makes it hard to hold that ruler steady, the magnets help. Same thing for the rotating cutting mat. Obviously, when you go to rotate a mat while you're trimming, it's more likely to be, to shift around on you, and the magnet helps solve that problem. And then you can use, they have little booster magnets so that you can use these with regular rulers that aren't magnetic themselves, right? Okay. Nicole's like, I'm a tool person. Give me all the gadgets. So Dot, I will put another link to this. There are magnets in the ruler. Yep. So I will put a link in my stories when I'm done with this live, Dot, pointing to my review and my affiliate links and affiliate discount, because I've got all kinds of resources for y'all. Yeah, it's worth the hype. It's an investment, right? But if it makes your cutting safer and more accurate, it is well worth it. Yeah. Jan says, are John and the boys going to the UK with me? No, they are not. Now, let the record show they were invited. There were many reasons why it didn't work out for them to come. One of which is that Festival of Quilts actually overlaps with the start of school. The other is that John is now an entrepreneur as well. So he has been working for a company for the last little bit. He became an entrepreneur again this spring, and just stepping away to go to the UK was going to be a challenge. Plus the expense of taking 4 people versus 1 person. So no, I get to have like a little 5-day solo vacation before I go teach, and I'm very excited. Hello, Jenny. It's good to see you. Margot says, does the ruler have all the markings that other rulers have? Yes, it does. I don't know how well you can see all of those, but it's got all the little notches for 1/4 inches, 1/8 of an inches, etc. All the diagonal lines. It's actually a really well done ruler. I actually like it quite a lot. And I use this one when the size makes sense. And then I will also just use my regular rulers on here. Yeah. The boys will have a great time while I'm gone. They have some fun things planned. I agree. Thank you, Dot. I'm very excited. I have not had a few days all the way off by my lonesome in a very long time. So, Hal says, after making a couple of these, I went and marked all the backs of my small squares at once and felt pretty efficient, but I skipped the halfway through ironing, and that was a mistake. Yes, iron halfway through. Make sure you iron at the fox face stage. It makes a difference. Jenny says, I'll be at festival on Saturday. Yes, Jenny. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Jenny, I am working on a list of folks who are going to be at Festival of Quilts. So this applies to you and anyone else who is watching that is on is going to festival in Birmingham. Please send me an email and let me know if you're going to be there, and if so, what days. Because I'm trying to make sure that I've got a little checklist, A, of who I want to try to make sure I see, but B, I'm putting together like meetup times. And so I need to know who's there when. Yes, there will also be an email going out about this afternoon. Yes, of course, Margot. Marcia says, I have carpal surgery in both wrists and then broke both wrists. Oh, no. So I have plates and screws. So having tools that help is a critical thing. Yes, Marcia. So you are a prime candidate, not only for these magnetic mats, but probably also for things like the AccuQuilt that are going to make your life so much easier. Great point. All right. Rock stars, that is how you make flying geese. What I want you to do this week is finish up those square and a squares, okay? And I want you to get all of your flying geese done, and then you can start assembling your blocks. While I'm gone, these videos are going to be pre-recorded. There will be full-length videos here on YouTube for y'all, okay? Instagram, we're going to have little reel-length videos, and then we will, of course, share the links over to the full-length tutorials over on YouTube. So there will still be videos about quilt top assembly and about quilting plans for Sirius while I am gone. And then when I get back, we're going to have our celebration so that y'all get to show and yell about all of your quilt tops. And we'll start talking about the custom quilting masterclass that will go with this. So if you want to see me bring my custom quilting plan to life, there's going to be an opportunity for that. Okay. Rockstars, you are fabulous. Thank you so much for being here with me this morning. My apologies for the air conditioning that got loud in the background. But yeah, it is fabulous to see y'all. And I will keep all of y'all updated via social about my adventures in the UK and at Birmingham Festival of Quilts. All right. Bye for now. I'll see y'all soon.